much. My name is Dr. JUMAI AHMADU. I'm from Olamaboro local government in Kogi State. I did my primary education in the village, secondary education in the village. Then went to University of Jos where I obtained my BSc Mass Communication. And I came to Abuja to serve in 1997-98. I got employed in FCTA and I've been working here since 1998. While I'm working, I furthered my education at the University of Abuja, where I obtained my BSc, MSc Public Admin and Policy Analysis. Thereafter, I got my PhD in Policy Analysis. While working also, because the employment I got 1998 was as a result of CDS I did while serving. So that spurred me to keep doing the charity work that I did, not knowing that it was going to be of any benefit. So I continued in that little pace until in 2003 we now registered the NGO as a Pure Sent Home. So we kept reaching out to people in our own little way, because I have this firm belief that nothing is too small to give and nobody is too poor to give. So that has been my guiding principle and I kept it up. But each time we have an activity, people reach out to us to ask if we have an orphanage home, because the name was Pure Sent Home. They believe that since there's a home there, it means there's this orphanage somewhere that they can also reach to. So that made me to discuss with my board of trustees, who said, instead of us receiving this call and we don't have the immediate objective to set up an orphanage, we should think about changing the name of the NGO, which made us to change the name in 2010 to Helpline Foundation for the Needy. So since that time, we've been reaching out to majorly to women, young girls, and boys, and few men that also reach out to us because they also have their own needs. We reach out to them so that will not limit our reach to only women, because men also have their challenges. And like I mentioned earlier, my parents were in Benue State, Macaulay to be precise, where I was taken to the village when I was 10 years old. I lived with my auntie. The house is, I would call it like a small mecca of sorts for people in her community and the surrounding villages, because our community then was the only community that had a secondary school, because then government was trying to reach out to so many communities to establish secondary school. So we happened to be one of such communities. So parents bring their children from the neighboring communities. It's not a boarding school, but they found her house a convenient and conducive place for their children to stay. So I happened to see how she was reaching out to people without any limitation. She does not have any boundaries. Her doors were open to anybody that is willing to come. And at any time you come to her house, you must get something to put in your mouth. It could be as little as pap for you to take, or if you come to meet food, you eat. But anytime she has the need to cook for any visitor that comes, she does not even bother what time of the day it is. She still does that. Not because she's very rich. She was not the richest or the most privileged person in the community, but her doors are opened to everybody. Seeing that growing up make me just have this firm belief that you cannot wait for when you have the entire money in the world before you can help anybody. From the little you have, you're still better than somebody. No matter how poor you think you are, there's somebody that is looking up to you. So that was what made me to say, since from the little this woman she has been a widow all her life. For as far as I know, I was born to meet her to be a widow. I grew up to see her as a widow, and she kept helping people, not minding her own problem. She first of all put her problems aside to solve people's problems. That was who she is. They called her Mama Okpe in the village. So she did it successfully, happily, until she died. So I just said it's better for me to see how I can emulate her. So that was also the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Back home in the village, I will not pinpoint any particular case, but I've had cause to remember some women being brought from the city because of domestic violence. Their husband will bring them. Some will be as a result of some allegations that the woman might be innocent. But the kind of things I see some of these women pass through, I know that they were really, really passing through some traumatizing experience, but then the enlightenment is not there as we have today. So they'll just deal with them. When they are found innocent, they'll ask them to just go back to their husband's home, and they have no say. So those were the things that I saw growing up Fast forward to now that civilization has taken over every place, women cry out a lot. So we have seen so many of such cases of women being seen as if they are one of the properties in their husband's house. You have no say whatsoever. It's whatever the man want to happen in his house that happen. That is enough violence on any woman emotionally. So we've seen such cases and we'll try to talk to them. Some that we realize that is because they are not empowered. We try to encourage them to look for something to do. If you depend on your husband 100%, there is no limit to what you can take from such man. But when you have some element of independence financially, the man will also think twice before he just dish out certain attitude towards you. So we try to cancel them. If you're not empowered, get something to do. There's a woman now, even though she's in Puda, thank God for online studying. Today she's in her 300 level because the man was taking the fact that she's an illiterate on her, that he has done her a lot of favor by bringing her to Abuja from the far north where she came from. So I just said, you are in your house, so long as it's not physically abusing, it's just this verbal abuse because you are not educated, you didn't further your education. Just get online, go online. The Open University admitted that she's at 300 level today. So just imagine that woman when she graduates and she could also get a job. There are jobs that women do online these days that they earn some money. So that alone has empowered that woman. She's happy now. Whenever the man is shouting, she just turn to her books and be reading. And she's doing very well. So she's able to overcome the verbal abuse in her home and she's studying, hoping that she'll finish her school. When she finishes her school and she gets employed, then she can work. Because I also tell women that it's better for you to live to live. You cannot, because of society and stigmatization, remain in a man's house and once you die, your story has ended. Your children will have nobody to even call mommy tomorrow. So the best thing for you to get empowered, and if it becomes too much physically, just walk because you have your life to live. So we've come across so many women, and what we also do in some extreme cases, we link them up to the relevant government agencies to see what can be done for them. Some that are extreme, government agencies intervene. We've had costs to also link them to some bigger organizations that can give them some shelters where they can stay. We're also in the process of completing our own shelter that these women that have nowhere to go to, because some parents are not even willing to accept their daughters. They'll say it's a shameful thing. How do you want my neighbors and friends to look at me? I'm a failed mother that couldn't train my daughter well to remain in her husband's house. So all those are issues that we've come across, and it's very, very pathetic and painful. But in some cases, these parents also do not even have what to give their daughters, in some cases, who have come with their children to feed on. So poverty is also another angle that we should also look at, not to completely blame parents. But if you accept your daughter and explain to her, people who want to help you will always be available to help, seeing that her leaving her husband's house is not like it's one abominable act that she has carried out, but she needs to leave. So in such extreme cases, we link them up. They will be in a shelter for like 6 months to 1 year, learn a skill. If possible, with the help of people, they get them accommodation where they'll go and be doing little trades. That has also helped. Indication, there are some alarm bells that you should notice from either your wife or your husband while you are even courting. I'm aware of some cases that you will not even know the man because he's abroad. You know how we react towards men who lives abroad. She'll just agree without even staying with this man for like 2-3 weeks or even months. They'll just go. You now come and see a monster. What will you do? You better find your way out of the house. So the alarm bells at times is how the man reacts to certain things that you do. His reaction should be able to tell you that this man might become violent, even verbally. There are some verbal, I talked about a verbal abuse that a woman is tolerating, but there are some that you cannot tolerate because it makes you to lose your self-worth completely. And so women will be pushed to go and commit suicide because you'll be wondering, if this man is saying these terrible things about me, it means I'm not even worth to live. So such cases also exist. So the alarm bell, if you notice this alarm bell and you know that you cannot cope, just go, because both parties are also suffering it. So if you notice them, walk, because you have one life to live. Like I always tell people, nobody, my husband and my husband's umbilical cord and mine were not tied together, but even conjoined twins, at a point they separate them. So you can't kill yourself because you want to remain married, and it applies to both gender. So far so good. Like I said, I started when I was in my NYC, and people have seen the consistency in how we've been doing our activities. So each time we have a project, we approach family and friends, and over the years they have seen that their monies are being put to proper use. And what we also do in most cases is to be like the bridge between the have and the have not. There's a particular case that makes us to look out to people who have money but don't know how to channel it or who to help to be fulfilled. There's a particular family that somebody came to the house. The woman was looking for school fees for her child. They are in Kubwa. So by the time she kept complaining that, before you ask for money, you give a lot of stories. So while she was telling these stories, the man already was thinking, this woman, she's going to ask for so much money. How are we going to assist her? While they were still chatting, their 11-year-old son entered the room. He saw 10,000 naira and brought. And the woman she was looking for, government schools are not very expensive. She was looking for just 7,500. By the time this little boy handed over this 10,000 to her, she was very happy and said this is more than what she wanted. So this family were shocked that for this period of time, she's even looking for less than what they can go and spend on their children for snacks. So that made them to add more money to this woman. I even told her that if there are other people in her shoe in that particular public school, she should always reach out to them. That shows that people are not looking for as much as we are thinking that they are looking for. And there are people who are also looking for a channel that they can use to reach out to people. So we are that channel. We try as much as possible to also link widows to their benefactors. You see them progress. So that is how we've been able to sustain ourselves. But basically, family and friends until recently, through Christ, MacArthur Foundation gave us some money to specifically reach out to the Abuja regional inhabitant people because they have their own rights that are being violated in terms of their land acquisition, a lot of their challenges, which is not peculiar to only Abuja. Anyway, you have indigenous people, you have this right. So MacArthur Foundation is also doing something in that regard, so we benefited from it. Our own task was to see how we can revive their culture. So that is what we are doing. In the next few months, the program is going to elapse. So outside MacArthur Foundation to Christ Sect, we never had any form of funding apart from family and friends I reach out to. My coping mechanism, I can say, is thanks to the team that I have on ground. Because when you have a team that have the same vision, they believe in what you're doing, your work will be very, very easy. I do government work Monday to Friday. All the NGO activities happen that have to be physically present, happen weekends when I'm on leave. But outside that, the team I have on ground are very, very effective and efficient. So it's just for you to tell them, this is what I want to happen. They go and let it happen, because I cannot sacrifice government time, which is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, for the NGO activities, but I find a way of balancing because of the good team members I have. They are all volunteers who are not on salaries, because they also believe in humanity, because as human beings, humanity first is what we also believe in. It's not about your religion, it's not about anything, but your belief that you have to be kind to your fellow human is what God actually wants us to be doing. And like my doctorate degree is in policy analysis. So at times we look at the general policy of government in our own way, even though I'm part of government, where there are gaps, we look for a way of filling in that gaps in terms of advocacy, and also ensuring that what needs to be done in line with what we are doing at the NGO level is effectively done. Talking about vulnerability, there's government agency that are in charge of looking out for people who are vulnerable. So we also bring out issues that concern these people and how we can tailor it to government policy to their attention. Like at the foundation, we have the Voice of the Girls Parliament. whose responsibility is to look at those critical issues that concern our girl child. Whenever they meet, they bring out documents that will take to the relevant government agencies to put it into the policy direction of government as it relates to the girl child. That we also do. They will also have some boys, because like I said, you will not focus on only women. We're talking about domestic violence. It's men that are abusing women, and these are grown-up men who may probably have seen how their parents were acting towards each other. So we now said, if that is the case, we're also giving any opportunity we have to also talk to our boy child to become responsible husbands. Because if we finish training our girls to become responsible girls, who are they going to marry tomorrow? It could be a man that will become excessively violent because he does not have information. If you are from a home that was not stable, that could also affect the psyche of these boys. So if we come across them, we also talk to them on the need for them not to look at how their parents were. You can be from any form of house, but you can be your own person. So we try to also tailor them. And what we do also, we have the center that we keep these boys, that they are very, very restive, in the sense that they can make anything that you want them to make, from drone to charcoal stove. So all those ones also, we now push this particular group of boys to the Ministry of Science and Tech, where government also have policies that has to do with us growing our economy, producing what we can use in Nigeria to reduce the pressure on our currency. So these are the ways that in our own little way we try to direct government policies to some actions that can be beneficial to the society in general. The problem we're having, men are ashamed to come out. They are ashamed to come out. You may be surprised that we have the percentage of men that we are thinking are going to domestic violence are more than the ones that are actually going through domestic violence. I've personally come across 2 of my colleagues who are physically abused by their wives, verbally abused by their wives. You see men staying in beer parlor and gardens in the evening. It's not because they really want to be there, because they want their wives to be asleep before they come back, because as soon as they open the door, it's insult. And some men that cannot take this insult are the ones that will just raise their hands. After I'm bigger than you, why I married you, why should you be disrespectful? So they lift their hands on their wives. But like I always advise them, if it's too much, just take a walk, leave her in the house and go. If you can, if she has children for you, look after your children from a distance, because if you remain in that home, something that both of you regret might happen. So men are also victims of domestic violence in the nutshell. A lot of men are suffering, but they are ashamed. So we encourage them at helpline to come out, talk, you get help. Victims of domestic violence should always summon the courage to look for somebody to talk to. The red flag, like I said earlier, some you could even see it physically when you're talking to your husband or your wife, their reactions, the kind of emotions you see in them. Some they'll be shaking. You see them shaking. You know that this person is really, really a danger that I should run from. So run as fast as your leg can take you. And some also, like I said earlier, family background matters a lot. There are some children that sees their parent quarreling every time. To them is normal. So if they become married tomorrow and they are not experiencing that, they will feel as if they are having some form of abnormal relationship with their wife. So beating their wife to them is a sign of showing that you are in charge of your house. So parents should also be careful. You can quarrel, but don't do it in the presence of your children, because that is also sending the wrong message to your children by the time they grow up. So these are the things that we should avoid. But the red flag, somebody's reaction towards little things, you could deliberately just provoke and see why you're dating. His reaction should tell you who he is going to be tomorrow. And women should not also deliberately provoke their husband to anger by our very fast mouth.